Welcome, 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 everybody. We are back, your friends at the Legacy Wealth Capital Group, and tonight we have I would say, an action packed. It might not be an action like you think of for a movie, but information wise, we have some action packed information for you. And first off, I want to talk to my partners a little bit, let them come in. Sean, Kyle, how are you guys doing this evening?
Hello, hello, hello.
Good, good. Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Very good. Now, I want you guys to, of course, like, follow, share, and subscribe, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you're seeing this. Share this information, share this live so other people can jump in and get the information that we're talking about. Because tonight, what we're going to break down and cover is what it takes for you to scale your business past $10 million. dollars. And you might be saying right now to yourself, well, Tyrus, I'm not at 100,000. I'm just starting, or I'm at 1 million, and 10 million seems so far away. But the issue with sometimes with our thinking is we set our goals too low. We just want to hit the next thing. Well, if you set your goal high enough, then you know what you're striving for and you can work backwards. Because I know my partners will agree, and I've heard this multiple times. A $1 million deal takes pretty much the same effort as a $10,000 deal. You're just adding a couple of zeros, but you're literally doing the same work. It's just either a little bit more complex or the stakes may be larger, but it's not like you're reinventing the wheel on $100 million deal versus the same wheel that you're doing $1 million deal on. Now I'll stop right there to see if Kyle, Sean, you guys disagree or you agree with that statement.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, basically, you just a lot of times you're just asking for larger numbers. That's all. But it's the same amount of work, same amount.
Yeah, yeah. I concur.
All
I
right,
concur.
very good. So let's jump into this. I received an email from Tai Lopez, and he was talking to Andy Elliott. If you don't know who these people are, look them up, Google them. You can call them influencers, you can call them whatever you want to call them, social media celebrities. They make a lot of money at the end of the day. They were talking about the 6 levers that every person needs to scale their net worth past $10 million. dollars. And I want to break down each one of those 6 levers. So I'm going to give you the levers first, levers for whoever wants to say levers. I'm going to give them to you first, and then we're going to break them down one by one. The first one is people. The second one, capital. The third one, branding. The fourth one, media. The fifth one, AI. And then the last one is knowledge. And so let's break each one of these down one by one and really talk through what it means. And we can just go round table and give each of our perspectives. So let's go in this order. Kyle, you first, Sean, and then I'll close out with what my thoughts are. So, as we're talking about the 6 levers that you need in your business, in your life to scale past $10 million, let's start with people. What they said the definition was build a team to work for you while you sleep. Kyle, give me your insights on that.
Mm, I like that. Make money while you're asleep. If we're talking about people, then basically what you want to do, and this is what a lot of times I hate to say it, but we as a people, we're afraid to give up knowledge or information because we think somebody's going to steal it or take it from us. Nobody can take what they weren't going to get anyway. We always say, what's for me is what God's for me, and what's for everybody else, that's what's for them. Just worry about yourself. But if you just surround yourself with basically people, and I believe too, people that are better than you, but put them in an environment that they can thrive and grow, and make sure that you continue to, continue to flourish. That I don't believe they're going to go anywhere. And if they do go, great. Go ahead, please go off success. And then now that gives you the ability to be able to bring somebody else in and train them up.
Yeah, when we took our company public, right? We had people in our business that worked just as hard as we worked, right? Um, and yeah, they had certain hours, but these people really wanted to see us succeed. They really wanted to succeed as a company. right? So Kyle made a great point, right? You need them people in the back uh, that are fundamentally sound as far as your the knowledge of the business, right? But you want to hire people who treat the business like it's their business, you know,
Yeah.
who treat the business, who wants to see the business go far, who want to see the business succeed. I mean, I think a lot of times we hire people and they just want to be worker bees. They just want to make their money and go home and, that's it. If you can find people that work, just as hard as you work, that want to see the company succeed, that want to see the company be great, I mean, that's what it takes to create, a multi-million dollar company.
Very good. So I'll close it out with this. You might be asking yourself, well, how do I find those people, those right people? There are a couple of different ways. Assessments. I love to use the DISC assessment. There's the Strength Finders, there's Colby, there are Enneagram, many other ones. But when you assess a person and you know their values, you know their behavioral tendencies, you know their strengths, you know their order of thought, you can then place what they call in the EOS world the right person in the right seat. And
Mhm.
so those are the people that you need around you. Another thing that Sean mentioned that will be that's tremendously helpful for making sure you have the right people is if you as the owner have the vision and you're able to cast that vision so much so that people will follow you. They believe in you. When Elon Musk cast a vision about going into space or doing Tesla or whatever he wants to do, he's able to captivate an audience. When Steve Jobs was able to go and talk about what he wanted to do with Apple, he was able to cast a vision that had people following him. Bill Gates, all of these people had a vision. So if you want people, which is the first lever that you need to follow you, you need a vision. The next thing, and so when you have the people, borrowing this from Grant Cardone and Brandon Dawson, they talk about PPF, personal, professional, and financial goals. When you hire your people, you need to understand and know their personal, their professional, and their financial goals. And then you help sell the vision of how working in your company, for your company, with your group can help them achieve their personal, professional, financial goals. Because nobody wants to go to work and make somebody else rich. They just don't want to do that. They want to know what's in it for me, and rightfully so. And to Sean's point, if you don't want people just coming to work for a paycheck, you got to be able to explain how their personal, professional, financial goals are getting met inside of your vision on your way to $100 million. So that's the first lever.
Real
People.
quick, Tyrus. I just have one quick point. So, how do people? How can smaller companies pay for these type of people, right? Because if you're going to have people that are well qualified in the business, how are you going to pay for these people, right? You can't pay for it off of the revenues from your company, right? But how you can pay for it is you can raise capital, and that capital will fund your operations. So that capital will fund the salaries and things of that nature. And my other point is, if you want to really inspire people, give them something to work for. Like for example, if you're looking at going public, right? Let's say in 24 months, and your company is giving out stock based on performances, right? Um, People will work hard for that, knowing that in 12 months, 24 months, that company is going to the exchanges. Bill Gates' secretary was the richest secretary in the world because one of the things, instead of taking a Christmas bonus, they took stock options,
Mhm.
right? So things like that inspire people. And you know what? Even though she was a multi-millionaire, guess what? She still worked for the company.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And what you want to say, not only the secretaries, but janitors too.
mhm.
The janitors also didn't take that Christmas bonus, and they were the richest janitors in Seattle area.
Yeah. Different mindset. So that's people. That's the first lever you need to scale beyond $10 million. The second lever is capital. Invest money to make more money without trading your time. Go for it, Kyle.
Man, you hit the nail right on the head with that one. I can't tell you how many times, we get on the phone, we talk to people, we do what's called BIS sheets, it's business information sheets. That allows us to be able to kind of take a really quick assessment and just see there's certain questions on there we can look at. And one of the ones that we go to the most or the quickest is, what's your budget? And I can't tell you how many times they're like, okay, they want to raise, $3 million. What's your budget? Zero. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. Okay, you want to raise $3 million, but no budget. It's going to be very difficult because how do you think we're just going to find people that just want to buy into what you're doing? And I don't know if people don't get a chance to hear when you hear investors say, how much skin in the game do you have? We were on the call yesterday with a major investor, and he asked everybody that we brought to the call. That was the first thing he said. How
Yeah.
much skin in the game do you have? Because they're not going to put up their money and you're not willing to risk anything. And when I listen to people, I talk to folks and they say certain things like, okay, well, I put all the money I can into it. Well, you got to get some more because you've gotten it this far. But if you're trying to go to the next height, you're going to have to find capital. And that's the reason why we love what we do, because we're non-traditional. We're investment banking. We're not, go to the bank and, get a loan. We're not, based off your credit score. We're not, get a PG or whatever, go get a grant. No, we're like, hey, look, if you believe in what you have, then go ahead and go out there and start talking to people. And you talk to people and they see what you have, they're going to like it. And if it makes sense and if it's got sizzle, and I'm talking about if it's got sizzle, they're going to invest in it.
Yeah. My thing is, being a business owner, you got to sacrifice, right? You have to sacrifice. So, in order to do these raises for a lot of people, maybe you might not, instead of making 5 grand a month or whatever, maybe you might make 2 grand a month just to pay your bills. But that little bit of money that you're sacrificing can go to raise capital. So you always have to find ways to bring capital into your business to keep, first of all, to keep the doors open. Second of all, payroll going. And third, growing your business. What is your job as a CEO? CEO is to fund the business and to grow it. That's your job. You got to have that vision in place in order to have that sizzle like Cal talks about. Because we come across so many companies, and everybody we come across, each one of them have the prettiest baby, right? And it's like when we break the companies down, it's like, okay, so what are you sacrificing? How much money did you put in this company? Well, I didn't put nothing in it. I just have this great idea. Okay, but that's not going to work. Because when you come across major VCs, they're going to want to know how much skin you have in the game, how much money you put in this company. What do you have to offer for, if you've been doing this for 5 years, what do you have to offer? If you're raising capital, and then another thing, last thing, if you're raising capital and you're taking these, exorbitant salaries, that's going to be looked at as a negative. Investors want you to grow lean as far as with your salaries and things of that nature, but grow the business. And that way, in the and then if they like your project, then they'll invest in it. If not, then it's not the end of the road. You just go to the next investor.
Yeah, that's good. I think what I see a lot of times is to echo what both of you guys saying, and I don't know if it was everybody's blaming COVID. I don't know if it was COVID or not. But what I do see is the whole I can make millions of dollars and not spend any money. The whole zero out of pocket. The whole let me go. Even buying people now, the whole thing is about acquiring businesses now, business acquisition, but they want to do it with zero out of pocket. And I remember having the mindset of, well, let me get into real estate and do wholesaling because there won't be any money out of my pocket. I can just flip the contract and do an assignment and make the 5,000 in between the deal. It's just not true. Can you do it every now and again? Yes. I think honestly, the people who are able to do the zero out of pocket or anything that they don't pay for are the most skilled people in the business. They have cut their teeth. They have spent thousands of dollars to learn, and now they can do these types of deals because they have the knowledge and the information on how to do it. But you hear them on the internet talking about doing it, and you think that you can go and build $1 million, 2 million, 10 million, $20 million business and not spend any money. It's just not real. And so capital, invest money to make more money without trading your time, is necessary as a lever to scale past $10 million. Another thing, and then I'll move to the third one. You might have to do what they call the seed raise, which is going to family and friends and borrowing some level of money to generate the leads in order to find the investors who can fund you even further.
Mhm.
That may be a step for you. I was talking to my coach today, my mentor, and he was saying even the not funds, but these small loan companies and the ones that give you money for development and I think it's CFDI, even these businesses are having a hard time funding loans because either people don't have collateral, they don't have great credit,
Yeah.
they don't have enough to put. There's just they can't even fund them, and so now people are just running out of the money that they are putting into the business, and they don't know where to go. You can always raise capital. You just have to have the mindset of this is what's necessary and this is what I have to do to move forward. So, third one, branding. Create a brand that sells itself like Apple or Tesla. I think, Kyle, when you talk about sizzle, I hear branding sometimes. And so, talk to us about branding.
Yeah, I believe that businesses a lot of times, I don't know if they really think about branding when they get started. And I believe that, when you start thinking about an idea of your business or whatever, you should already be thinking about the logo, the logo, what it's going to look like, what is it going to, mean? What's going to be, I want to say not the definition, but, is it a humanitarian effect? Is it a personal effect? Is it a family crest? One of the biggest things about what we did when we created JMI knew that I wanted us to have this special specific logo, and it was a shield, and the shield was for the protection, and then inside the shield we had a lion, for leadership, and then basically then we had the letters in there, JMI, and then we had something else that was in there, but all of that was there, and then we had like the ribbon to go across. So it was well thought out. And I was thinking, it came up in my mind because over in Ireland, when you see those guys with the kilts, a lot of people don't realize, oh, this dude's wearing a skirt. Yeah, it might be a skirt, but guess what? That's a family crest.
Yep.
And not only do they wear that skirt, but they also got a shield or a crest or something with it. And it goes back for hundreds of years. And we as a people never think like that. So branding is so important. Think about Nike, just a little swoosh. I mean, just a swoosh. Think about Adidas, three stripes, and how many different ways they did those three stripes. And I mean, just so branding is so important. And if your business is 5 or 6 years old and you may have a logo, but you don't really think about it, people get behind causes. And when they get behind that cause, that can help you sell your product, help you cash your vision, help you get it out there, not just in that city where you are, but in that state, in the country, and on a global scale.
Yeah, and this is probably one of the topics that probably going to cover. I'm not sure because we don't see the topics before Tyrus answers questions. But what goes hand in hand with branding? Goes hand in hand with branding, marketing, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to, in order to get your brand out there, right? You have to have a exceptional marketing plan, right? Because I don't care if there's a lot of products out there that's not really that good, right? I mean, if you buy them AliExpress products, them things might fall apart the day one. I bought some chargers from them one time. None of them worked, right?
Right.
But how did I know about AliExpress? Because you see it on everything, right? You people sell AliExpress products. It's always in your face. Tumu is another one. It's always in your face, So you got to have a marketing budget if you want to excel your brand. You have to. We wouldn't know nothing about Nike if it wasn't a commercial of Michael Jordan, right? We wouldn't know nothing about the Dr. J's Converse if Dr. J wasn't wearing them and it was a commercial showing him wearing them, right? So marketing is a huge part of your business. I mean, what we're doing right now, podcast, is basically marketing. Tyrus will chop it up, put out little videos. Those are marketing videos designed to bring people into us, designed to ask questions. Who are these guys? What do these guys do? Let me give them a call. Maybe they can help my business, right? It's all marketing.
Very good. So let's reset the room for those of you that's joined us after we started. We're talking about the 6 levers that you need in order to scale your net worth beyond $10 million. I got this from an email from Tai Lopez. So if somebody else got that email, don't say Tyrus stole them. Nope. I gave him credit. First lever was people. Second was capital. And now we're talking about branding. And from my perspective, you have two different brands. You have a business brand and a personal brand. And again, there are many, many business brands that we know of that now the owners and CEOs are establishing their personal brand after the business was strong. Steve Jobs has a personal brand or had because of just what Apple was able to do. Bill Gates, what Microsoft was able to do. Elon Musk, what Tesla and SpaceX and all these other things were able to do. They went business brand first and then personal brand, hit social media. We have our influencers, our celebrities, our athletes. They have our actors, actresses. They have personal brands that they go and grow businesses with. And
Mhm.
so you have to decide based on what your product, what your service is. Are you starting with a business brand or a personal brand? I believe if you're not celebrity, if you're not athlete, and I'm talking about professional athlete, super college, if you're not an actor, if you're not a musician or artist, it is very hard to take a personal brand and grow it without being one of those things. I see a lot of people want to follow the coach, consultant, speaker route and build a personal brand. And that's what's being pushed online. But you got to really look at the numbers. Like, don't be emotional with it. Look at the numbers of who, like, we can name the top people in the world from a speaker standpoint. You got to Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Ed Milet, maybe Dean Graziosi, Les Brown, Dan Sullivan. Outside of that, everybody else may be making money, rightfully so, but they don't have strong personal brands because you're going to say anybody else's name, like, well, who is that?
Yeah.
I don't know who that is. So you have to decide what type of brand you're starting with based on your service, based on your product, and then go that route. Number 4, media. You have to have media in some capacity to scale your business. My definition says, or his statement was, use social media to reach millions with one post. Go for it, Kyle.
Actually, well, there's a statement from Henry Ford, and I can't memorize it, but he talks about a business that fails to advertise is like a person that stops, winding a watch. You've got to understand, you've got to advertise. If you expect to get something done or expect to get something across, you've got to advertise. Because other than that, we don't know enough people. We don't. Our network is not big enough to get whatever we have, our brand, our product, our service, out to enough people. So you've got to advertise. And now with social media, it helps because you can have so many people. But you've got to advertise. You've got to get out there. You got to use media some way, whether it's regular television, whether it's newspaper, whether it's magazine, whether it's basically what social media. You've got to use some type of media to get your product out there. And now think about this. I mean, every time you turn around a corner, there's a McDonald's, right? Why are they still running commercials?
Every day.
Every time you go to the store, it's Coca-Cola. every restaurant is Coca-Cola. Matter of fact, Coca-Cola had a monopoly on it that Pepsi had to buy KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut so that they could get some share in the market because, basically Coca-Cola was dominant. Why are they still running commercials? Because you got to basically, when you roll down the street or whatever, and all of a sudden there's a refreshing day, and what do? You see that little drip on that, Coca-Cola bottle? Let me just go buy a Coke. You got to advertise. Got to. It's a must.
Yeah, I mean, what you say is so true. Um, I think the thing about it is without advertising, again, it's going to be hard to expand. And I was just thinking, as Kyle was saying it, I was just thinking about when we had our publicly traded company and how the advertising was limited back then. What we used to do was we used to run commercials at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And we would have commercials, and we would get so many calls the next day. Sometimes like 3 o'clock in the morning, we would get calls. And we didn't have all of the social media, the TikToks and IGs and stuff like that back then, right? So now there's a whole universe of there's so many different social media apps out there, right? I was just looking at the one today. I sent it to you guys. Fan base, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's raising capital, taking his company public, but it's all sorts of different social medias that we couldn't touch all of those people back then when we were running commercials. It was what 50,000 people, something like that, viewing count, something like that, 100,000
Yeah.
maybe. Now
Yeah.
you can reach millions with the click of a button.
Right.
And if you know the right people, as far as the marketers that's out there, these guys can literally take your company from zero to millions and millions of dollars. So, first of all, it's all about accessing and knowing the right people, because there's tons of people out there that they talk that talk, but they don't walk the walk, right? And they will bleed you dry. So you have to be extremely careful.
Mhm.
One of the reasons why, um, let me tell a quick story, and then I'll go to we can go to Tyrus. But we was at a function called the Power Network, right? And Kyle said, Kyle said he was talking about this guy he saw on his commercial or this thing on Instagram. So when he started, so Tyrus was the guy, right? When he started speaking, Kyle was like, "Sean, that's him. That's him, Kyle. Sean, that's him." And I said, "Are you sure that's him?" He said, "Yeah, that's him." So when Tyrus was done speaking, we went over to him and started talking to him, invited him back to the table. And next thing you know, we formed before we formed the company, and he kind of joined on to the company here, and we formed up a Legacy Wealth Capital Group before our company was Capital Raising Academy. But Tyrus is a guru at marketing. So what he's going to do is he's going to market this company, right, to the next level. He's one of the guys that can get you from zero to $1 million, or zero to 10 million, or zero to 50 million. He's one of the guys out there, one of the best marketers out there, and he has reputable names that he helps market. So, but these are the things that can get you to the next level. They can make or break you.
Yeah, and real quick,
Absolutely.
Travis. Yeah, real quick before you do that, because Sean reminded me. Cyrus, we spent so much money. Let me say that. The money that we spent, and again, what we can now do with you, oh my goodness. We found this one young lady, right? That basically our ad buyer, she said, "Hey, I got somebody to be a good model for you guys." We said, "Okay." So we actually went to a house that was being built or whatever, and they brought the model. The model met us there, and they shot the commercial right
Yeah.
there at this house that was being built, right? So we ran this commercial for 1 year. We ran it for a year. It was crazy. And I mean, I'm talking about we ran it all the time. Like Sean said, the phone would ring. We went back to the young lady, right? And we said, hey, look, we're thinking about doing another commercial. So, hey, how'd you like to be? You know what she said to us? She said, talk to my agent.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And we were like, what? We're the ones that created you. She
We
said,
made
talk
her
to
to a
my agent.
superstar.
She
We
leveled
said,
up on y'all.
we said, okay. And then we just ran the commercial for another year
Yeah.
without her. Yes. That's how powerful media is.
Yeah. And for everybody that's here, if you stay to the end, I'm going to wrap all of the 6 levers up and I'm going to give you a practical plan to walk away with to implement it. Because here's a thing that I am anti. I'm anti theory. I am pro motivation, but I'm anti motivation only. And so there's nothing wrong with going to conferences, going to webinars, watching lives, but I feel like there's everything wrong with doing that and then walking away and not implementing anything or not having a plan or not knowing what your next logical step is. And I personally don't care, and I hear it all the time. Well, it's boring and it's not exciting. Well, be broke and excited if that's what you want, because the business is something that you have to do. There is no other way. And I want people to break out of the cycle of watching or going to, no knock on them. I I respect everything they're doing at a very high level. I blame more the people. When you go to an event like Invest Fest and there's 15, 20,000 people there, and you're getting excited and you're around a lot of people and there's entertainment, there's some business, and you walk away and don't change your life,
Mm,
there's a gap there.
mm.
And at some point, you have to say to yourself or look in the mirror and ask, am I the problem? And what's the gap? And we continuously do that over and over and over. And I see people, because I worked in this space and I worked behind these people and these celebrities and these names. And I would see the same people, same names, same emails in different communities and different webinars. And they didn't move the needle in their life. And that's because they walk away with no action plan. So stay
Right.
to the end. I'm going to give you an action plan. Now, if you don't implement it, it ain't on me. But you can't say that I just came and listened to these guys and I got a little bit excited and I didn't walk away. That's on you.
Yeah.
But media, you must use media, whether it's print, digital, social media, mailers, commercials. I saw a Tony Robbins commercial on TV
Yeah.
for their, I think it's Time to Rise Summit coming up. I told my wife, I'm like, look at Tony on TV. You gotta do it. Tony
Mm.
Robbins ain't hurting for no money. I think he's worth $500 million, but he's running a commercial. I know that they run over 250 $250,000 when they run their ads because I work with their people. And
Of
so,
course, they could still hear the TV.
and then when I'm listening to Grant Cardone's people, they run 140, 150, $200,000 when they're running ads per month. We have to get out of the mindset of I can make this same type of money and I don't spend anything on my media and I'm not out there. So moving on. The fifth lever to scale beyond $10 million is AI. Leverage artificial intelligence, the most powerful tool of our time, to automate simple tasks. I want to go first on this one.
I'm
I'm,
getting
I'm
ready to
gonna
say,
break.
because
I'm gonna break out and I'm gonna go first.
I'm
We
getting
old
ready to say,
school up in here,
I'm,
so
I'm getting ready to
Alan,
say,
yeah,
I'm going to say Allen Iverson.
yeah,
If you are not using AI in your business today, you are behind. If you refuse for whatever reason to learn or to hire someone with AI knowledge in the next 5 years, you're going to be out of business. You will be out of business because every business going forward needs to find some way to implement AI in their business. whether it is AI voice. Now, so we're seeing the next level of outsourcing. First, 20 years ago, they started outsourcing customer service calls overseas. Now they're outsourcing customer service calls to voice AI
Hmm.
because voice AI can take you through a chain and either set you an appointment, text you, email you. I've seen people order pizzas on voice AI. Like, it's coming, it's here.
Hmm.
We're going to see it take over in the next year or two because now we're getting used to it. Used to, people didn't want to talk to voice AI. Oh, it sounds like a robot. I don't want to talk to a robot. People are getting over that. And you know it's voice AI. So once more get comfortable, we'll see that come in. AI conversational bots, who you're talking to on the internet, giving you ideas, chat GPT, algorithms, computers. And I know a guy who builds, he's working through building autonomous AI bots so they learn from each other.
Hmm.
So now you're not having to prompt it, feed it information, it's teaching itself. Microsoft investing billions. These companies are doing it. So if you are not on the AI train, you must get on there. Get you a conversational bot for chat, web chat. Get you a voice AI program to answer your calls and book appointments for you. AI is helping you write your emails. My wife told me, and I just went in my email, Gemini AI pops up in the email.
Yeah.
How just put your date text here and I'll make your email sound better. It is going to automate and make our lives better. Go for it, guys.
Yeah, I know that I'm tiptoeing in it and I'm messing with it. Once you get past all this, it's going to take over and basically it's going to replace humans and everything. And once you get past that fear, because by the time it happens, I'm probably going to be long gone. So if whatever Terminator take over, we'll be out of here. My kids going to have to worry about that. But anyway, I remember, Sean and I were at a meeting one time and we were talking to a guy and he said he invested in 18 wheelers that were autonomous. And I was like, what? He said, yes. And they already have, right now, they already have 1,000,000 miles of travel on 18 wheelers. That basically, and my thing that when I'm always talking to people, I say, look, you can say it's a whatever, you can say that the economy has crashed, or you can say it's a recession or whatever. But as long as I'm on the road and I see those tractor trailers, I know we in business. When they start rolling, then I'm going to be worried because that's called commerce, not e-commerce, but commerce. So that means something's being bought and something's being sold. But when you start seeing that, and now it's autonomous, whoa, that means look, something's going on. And also, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but if you saw what happened, Facebook has let go of 3,000 people. And last week, I read that Mark Zuckerberg said he has a level of AI that can get rid of the mid-level employees at Meta and Facebook. And then this week, he lays off 3,000 people. So, like you said, Tyrus, it's right. You got to get with it and you got to make sure. But again, don't be afraid to learn something new because, like I said, if you can learn something new and it can enhance what you're doing, then embrace it rather than wait for it. Because if not, you're going to be on the sideline.
Yeah, with this statement, I'm not trying to give any stock recommendations or anything, right? But 46 to 50% of all capital raised last year was something to do with AI. Let me repeat, we're talking about billions of dollars. 46 to 50% of all capital raised last year, 2024, had something to do with AI. So like Tyrus and Cal said, is coming. So if your business is not equipped with AI, you will be behind. You will automatically be behind. Find something. Whatever you're doing, talk to a specialist. Talk to somebody how they can implement AI into your business. I was just telling Cal and Tyrus the other day, there's a company that's looking at going public, very similar to Uber. but they have AI. They incorporated AI technologies. Something to do with AI last year. These guys got millions of dollars from a venture capital firm. So invest in AI in your business heavily, guys. That's the next best thing.
Yeah. You got to figure out what part of your business you can integrate AI into. I was just looking at different because as I'm looking at different businesses to buy, and then people talk about buying accounting firms, buying this, buying that. I have noticed, and I just do the research and read. You notice that in the past, and let's just use accounting firms, everything was done pencil and paper. Numbers, calculators, pencil, paper, filing, mailing in reports. Then it started becoming online. Now I'm starting to see these outsourced digital CFOs, fractional CFOs, and now I'm seeing AI powered
Mm,
taxes. And what's being done is what they're doing is they're creating these bots and programs that will read the data, research through thousands and thousands of pages, understand through you prompting what mistakes are, and it will catch the mistakes. So it eliminates human error. And that's what everybody's looking for. Not only how do
yeah.
I make my job easier, better, simpler, faster, but how do I eliminate the mistakes? They don't get tired. They don't get fatigued. They don't need a
Yeah.
pay raise.
Yeah.
They don't, it's a lot. So you have to figure out how to implement it, how to integrate it, and how to make it a part of your business.
And you know what? You know what I like to add to that, Josh, because you just brought up a real good point. This stage where we are now with AI kind of reminds me of the ATM machine or the bank teller. Because remember when you used to go to the bank? I don't know if you guys remember that. I'm giving up my age now, but they had these big old banks that you would go to, and they had all these tellers that would be there and they would be working. And then all of a sudden, they brought this thing in called the ATM machine, the automatic teller machine. And then guess what happened? They got rid of all of those people because that teller machine, guess what? It doesn't call in sick, doesn't go on a lunch break, doesn't take a break, and it's operating 24/7. And then what have you started seeing the banks? They started getting smaller and doing different things. But that's what the ATM machine did for the banking industry. And not only that, then they started making money off of it. When they started saying if you use out of network ATM machines, they're going to ding you for $1. So they made so much extra money from doing that. And this is what AI reminds me of. But not just in one industry in banking, but in every aspect of industry. That's what I see with AI.
I love it. I love it. So again, the six levers you need to scale your net worth past 10 million. We went through the first five. Let's run them down. People, capital, branding, media, AI, and the last one is that most elusive thing, the most secret thing, the gem of the night, knowledge. Learn from mentors and books to avoid years of trial and error. Talk to
Yeah.
us, Kyle.
Um, I share this with people a lot, and this is what I was taught by a mentor of mine. And he said, Kyle, he said, basically, when you go out and you make a sale, you got 100%, right? He said, take 10%, got to give it back, tithing, whatever you do, it's got to give it back. He said, you got to take another 10%, you got to put it in savings. And then he said, you got to take 10% and put it towards learning. You've got to do something, whether you're going to events, whether you're buying books, whether you're reading, whether you're getting associated with networking organizations or whatever. Your net work is your net worth. Let me say it again. Your net work is your net worth. So if you learn that you've got to take a portion, whatever you're making, and put it towards getting better. Knowledge, books, whatever. I remember I got a chance to speak at a church a little while ago, and they gave me a gift certificate. And I took the gift certificate and I bought $100 worth of books. to get better so that I can go back to them and make sure when I come back next year, I'll be that much more knowledgeable. So you've got to make sure you do that. And the one thing that, if I talk to people or I ask them and say, hey, look, well, what book are you reading? What event have you been to? What, are you trying to are you getting certified in something else? What are you doing? But basically we spend a whole bunch of money to go to school, to these universities and things like that. And then when you finish, what are you guaranteed? Nothing. Right now, you realize you can go spend money at an event, go somewhere, learn something, and you're not guaranteed anything. But guess what? When you pay that money, you're going to come back with some knowledge. And folks, understand this. I know you haven't heard this, is not the first time you heard it. Knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. So whatever you learn, whatever you get, then you apply it to your business and make sure. And we always like to have, Sean and I always had this thing called hurry up and fail. You know what? Hey, if it don't work, hey, you got to fail. Like right now, Sean had to, he had to do some abrupt work today with our call center. So, hey, hurry up and fail. There were some corrections that need to be done. Hey, hurry up and fail. But we got to make sure we do it. So that is it. Knowledge is not power, but applied knowledge is power. So take your time learning something, and then once you learn it, apply it.
And failure is the key. Nobody loves to fail, right? I hate failing. Tell you the honest truth. Abraham Lincoln lost, I think it was like 8 elections, right? So he went on and started a business. He failed at that. Started another one. He failed at that. Abraham Lincoln was failing so much he had a nervous breakdown. People were saying, Abe, just give it up. You're not meant for presidency. You're not meant for a business. But, after Abraham Lincoln recovered, he went back and ran for president, and he was successful in winning the presidency. So failure is part of the lifeline of your business, right? Bill Gates' first business failed miserably. He failed so bad he was scared to start another business. And it took some confidence building, and he started another business, and that happened to be Microsoft. So again, some of the greatest people on this earth, some of the largest businesses on this earth have failed. It happens. So hurry up and fail, get it over with, learn from your mistakes. And I think this, again, have great mentors. Mentors are the key. You need somebody who knows this stuff, who can tell you to go right or left. Because when Cal and I, when we had our company, there were times when it was like, well, what do you think, Cal? I don't know, Sean. What do you think? We didn't have no mentors back then. Well, we did have mentors, but they didn't understand what we was going through. So they wasn't the correct mentors, right? So you got to have people that understand this stuff. Lastly, I think your team of people behind you that's helping support you. CFO, your executive team. These guys got to be knowledgeable because, again, Cal and I, we were the main kind of ideal makers and the main decision makers in our business, right? But after us, we didn't have anybody with that knowledge. Yeah, we've had people that help us get to where we was at, but that's where they kind of leveled off at, and we went above and beyond them. And the people that can help us, these people were untouchable, right? Because they were the larger Amazons and things of that nature. Because we were pretty much by ourselves. We couldn't just call up Sprint or Bell South and say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Couldn't do it. So mentors are key, are incredible, and also your executive team. They have to. You always want to find people on your team that's smarter than you. That's one of the keys to running the business. You don't got to be the smartest booking a library, booking on your team, But what you got to do is you got to have people with a combined effort make you the smartest. So, I mean, that's what I think is very valuable nowadays. Mentors and your team.
I love it.
Not to give up. Sorry about that. And not to give up.
Yeah, definitely. I was listening to Alex Hermosi talk about just failing, and he said that if you look at every successful person, it's not that they didn't fail, it's that they didn't give up. And that the people who are wealthy, the people who are successful, are the ones who fail continuously and they keep going. Most people who fail and quit, that's true failure.
Mhm.
If you fail and keep going and you make it, you learned. You didn't fail, you learned. Jim Rohn said, learn to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. But if you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune.
Yeah.
That is education. That is going out and getting the knowledge. Here's another thing that I want to say books, because most people they want to get next to somebody. I would love when I was working with everybody wanted to get next to E. Let me ask Eric. I want to talk to Eric. Well, Eric wrote books. A lot of our wealthy, great, whatever you want to call them, people put their knowledge in books. They put their experience in books. They put their lives in books. So if you just pick up a book, you can get 80% of what you're looking for from that book. Another thing that I learned about mentors, and I was taught this, mentors, coaches, whatever you want to call them, they appreciate when you walk to the table with some level of information, showing that you took some step. They're busy people. They
Mhm.
don't want you coming up to them asking, hey, can I take you out for a cup of coffee and pick your brain? No. Come with a question. Like, show them that you took some initiative. And when you take initiative, then you can go and you can say, hey, Kyle, I was researching and I was reading about a regulation D 506B. What's the difference between that and a C? Versus me saying, Kyle, I'm thinking about raising capital. What should I do?
Right.
The first one, I at least know some of the terminology and the language, and it shows him that I did some work. So now he can meet me there and take me further versus trying to carry me from scratch. I will say this to you. If you want to start from scratch and you want it for free, go to your local SBDCs, Small Business Development Centers, go to the SBA. They have free programs for you that will help you start your business. But if you are looking for a person, an individual, a business owner to help you, you have to come to the table with some value. Be valuable. Be able to trade some value, and you will get that knowledge. To go to what Sean was talking about, having the right people around you. I don't know if it was Jim Collins. I don't know who wrote this book, but it's what got you here won't get you there. The people that you start with may not be the people that you end with, and that's okay. And you, as the person, you have people behind you they need the knowledge that you have, so you got to pull them, and you need to be in a group with people that are in front of you so they can pull you and give you more knowledge. And then you have your peer group. Like Sean and Kyle, they were in the same peer group. They were bouncing ideas off each other. They had the same level of knowledge. They couldn't really get the answer. So they had each other, but they needed that group that was ahead of them. And then they were able to pull people from behind them. You need all of that. And so if you guys don't have anything else, I want to recap all of this and give a plan of action before we close out.
You know what, Ty, I want to say one thing because you brought up a very, very good point. And I wanted everybody to really understand this. Um, I talked about your network is your net worth. And I remember one time hearing this story about Anthony Robbins and what we're talking about, how you can scale and how you can grow. And it's so important to understand that you are the sum of the people you're around.
Mm.
So you're the sum of those five people. So usually the people that you hang around, you're in the same economic bracket, you're in the same, probably same community, probably doing the same things, probably even hanging out the same places. And if you want to go somewhere higher, then you're probably, like you just said, you're probably going to have to leave some of those people, get out of that comfort level and go somewhere else. And one of the things about Sean and I is that we knew that 99% of our investors did not look like us.
Hmm.
Let me say that again. 99% of our investors did not look like us. How were we able to do what we did? See, that's because nobody told us we couldn't. We wouldn't be around somebody that said we couldn't do it. So that's why we did it. And I want everybody to understand that that came from what? Knowledge. Not just basically knowledge, but we applied what we learned from raising capital with other companies. So it wasn't just having the knowledge, but we applied it. Now, like Sean said earlier in this, podcast, there was other people that were around us. But guess what? They didn't reach the levels that we reached. To this day, they're still doing the same thing that we were doing back then, over 20 years ago. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Very good. Very good. Okay, let's recap. According to Tai Lopez, when he was talking to Andy Elliott, the six levers that you need to scale beyond $10 million, your net worth, are people, capital, branding, media, AI, and knowledge. Now I'm going to package it together for you. And I want you to take this challenge over the next 30, 60, 90 days. Number one, write it down. I want you to grab a book. I don't care what book it is. The book I recommend is Traction by Gino Wickman. Traction helps you understand how to put a business operating system, mainly the EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System, in your business so you can get traction. It talks about vision, people, data, process, vision. So all the components that we talked about tonight is in that book. So I do care. Get that book, Traction. If you read it before, read it again. That's the number one. So that's our knowledge. As you read this book, I want you to think about your product, your service. And 90 days from today, and if you already have a launch plan, meaning you're going to push a product out, you're going to get ready to sell, great. If you don't, 90 days from today, I want you to be prepared to launch your product or service or relaunch something, meaning you're going to advertise it, whether you pay ads or whether you do organic, but you're going to push it out to the world and you're going to sell it. And I want you to sell one. That's it. That's the goal. Now, if you've been selling and you are a big bit wherever, then set your goal and sell what you want to sell. If you're brand new, sell one. Ed Milet asked Master P how many boxes of cereal or something. Do you want to sell millions of boxes of cereals? Master P said, I just want to sell one first so I could get started. Then let me worry about the millions. So, number one, read Traction. Number two, think about your idea, your service, your product, and plan to launch it 90 days from now. Number three, think about the capital that is going to take you in order to do that. What software do you need? If you're selling products, do you have to buy anything? Do you have to stock it up? Do you have to, whatever that means? I don't sell products, so I know it's manufactured. I know all these different little things that go along with it. So what do you need to do to be prepared? How much capital do you need to have for that? I want you to think about people. Who do you need on your team? Can you do this alone? Do you need a VA, a virtual assistant? Who can help you? And remember, you got to sell the vision to them, and you need to understand their personal, professional, and financial goals. So after you read this book, Traction, after you think about your product or your service that you want to launch 90 days from now, you think about the money that you need in order to pull it off, to pay people, to pay for software, to pay for your product or service, your cost of goods sold, that's what that's called. Now, I want you to think about the branding part. How do you brand it? And you may think about the branding a little bit as you're doing it, but I want you to think about how are you going to position it to the marketplace. I want you to do this before you put it out there. Think about the branding. Then we go to media, before we go to media, that's going to be last. Then we go to AI. How can AI help position you to do this faster, smarter? How can it take phone calls for you? How can it be a conversational bot for you? How can it deliver the product? Meaning, if you're a coach, maybe you program an AI to answer a bunch of questions and you're not answering the questions, the AI does it. But think about how do you add AI? And thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much. She just putting all the stuff in there. I'm a pause just so I can highlight that she's doing the work for you and putting it in there. So Traction, the book.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank
Number
you.
two,
Thank you, Michelle.
launch,
Michelle's
relaunch,
awesome.
product, service. She awesome. Money need to pull it off. And let's put people in there too. So money you need to pull it off, plus the people. Then we talk about branding and positioning. AI to do it smarter and faster. And lastly, media to push it to the world.
Mm.
And that's your launch. So now you can't walk around and be like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I just gave you everything you need to do to launch a product or service in 90 days. Now, yes, there are intricacies in all of these things, but that's where you go and you do your research. You ask yourself, what do I need to do this? And then you Google it and you use AI because you go and ask ChatGPT, what do I need to launch a product or service in the next 90 days? I guarantee you it will spit out everything that you need down to the website, funnel pages, emails, text messages, all of it. So now you have it. I gave you action steps to implement. Let's go over them one more time, and then we're going to get out of here. Get this book, Traction. Read it. It will help you establish and put together a business operating system that will help your business. Number two, think about launching or relaunching a product or service in the next 90 days. Number three, what money or capital do you need to pull it off? Cost of goods sold, meaning you got to pay for software. If you have team members, you got to pay them. If you need a website built, you got to pay for that. You know, all the things you need money for to launch. How do you brand it and position it? What is your messaging? What AI do you need and how can you integrate it to help you do this faster and smarter? And then lastly, how are we pushing this to the world? Social media, print media, networking, we got to push it to the world. And so that is encapsulating all of the 6 levers that you need in order to scale your net worth beyond $10 million. Now, before we close, I want to let you all know that March 28th, 29th, we are having a live event in Charlotte, North Carolina. The website is scrolling across your screen right now. We want you to get in the building because if you think that that was good information, you're going to get even more. And we are saving a few things at that event that we're not going to talk about until we get there. We're launching some new products and services ourselves, and we want you to be a part of it because I'm going to give a little bit of a secret out there. It may just be a place where you can get some money. You might be able to raise some capital in that space. And so I want you guys to be there. And I want you to share it with all your family and friends that own businesses because we have to get away from being broke, from hustle mentality, from being denied by banks, from putting everything on the credit card. And now we got to pay that debt back with 29.99% interest. Ask me how I know. I know.
Right.
We got to get away from that. So I want you guys to come to Charlotte, be with us on this event, at this event, and join us on this journey. It will change your life.
Yeah.
And I know it will because I've watched the life be changed, or the lives being changed of all these great people that we talked about. They started right where we started. And what did they have? Access and capital. And so
Exactly.
that is what we're giving you at this event: access and capital. Sean, Kyle, any last things before we get out of here?
Yeah, again, this event on the 28th in Charlotte, North Carolina. We will go over so many things that's beneficial to your business. Tyrus, he said something earlier that was key. He said you attend these events and you walk out of there, and you really haven't learned anything. Yeah, it's a hype session, and everybody's laughing and shouting and things of that nature, but there's no game plan once you leave out. We're going to give you a game plan. We're going to give you all the tools you need in order to be a successful company. Come to the seminar, and you will get those tools. So that's what I have to say.
Yeah, and thank you guys for tuning in. We do appreciate you guys coming to see us every week when we do this and put it together. So don't take it for granted that we do not appreciate that. We do. But we would rather meet you in person, because in person you get a chance to really, you will see the essence of what we do. We talk about, teaching people how we went public and how we did what we did. But Sean just said it right there. And, Tyra said it, access. You need access. And I want to close on tonight. Sean and I talked to a business owner. I think it was we talk business every day, but a couple of weeks ago we talked to a guy. And it's funny when you share something with somebody and they listen to it for the first time, and because they've never heard about it before, they think that it's not possible, or they think that it can't be done. So I just want to give you a quick story. We talked to a gentleman, and he said that he's trying to buy this building, $1.2 million. And also, he said he's got a contract he's going to start. It's going to start in March. So we need to have this building together. We want to move his restaurant to this place and get everything together. We said, great. Okay, good. Well, you know what? That's how much you want to raise. And so he said, well, I want to raise about, I think he said like 2.5 million. We said, okay, well, great. You know what? That's a regulation CF. Now, let me ask everybody a question. Do you know what a regulation CF is? If you don't know, it's okay. But like we said, it's just knowledge that some people have and other folks don't. And what happened is it was created from the Jobs Act. President Obama signed a bill back in 2012 that created the Jobs Act. Now, what do you know of what relates to that, correlates? You might know about Kickstarter or Jumpstart or GoFundMe. But also there's another thing called the Regulation CF. And so we said, hey, we could put this together for you. And basically it's just going to, all we do is put it together. We can raise capital for you and we can get that done. And you'll have investors. He said, well, I got a meeting with the bank and I can go back to them again. And then Sean said to him, he said, well, with the bank, when do you have to make your first payment? And he was like, 30 to 60 days later. And Sean shared with them, that, look, you know what? You don't have to make a payment. And not only that, basically, if you take it public, you'll never have to pay it back. You'll just give it to them in shares. And you know what he told us? I'm going to have to think about this. Think long, think wrong. Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to keep getting what you got. But just like this AI is coming, you need to think about what we're doing and how we're talking about private equity or investment banking the same exact way, because it's access to capital that you might not have known about, but it's there and we can show you how to do it. Make sure we see that event, March 28th and 29th in Charlotte, North Carolina. Look forward to seeing you.
I love it.
Real quick, Tyrus, just to kind of add on with Kyle, just real quick. I'm not interested in making $1 million or $2 million in this business, right? A lot of people are, but I'm not interested in that. I pray to God I live long enough to make $1 billion. So we can again, we have the tools to get there. We understand what it takes. It's just a matter of putting everything together, putting everything into form. And we're gonna shock the world again with our second publicly traded company. Like to thank everybody again for coming out, listening to us again, and be at the event. Thank you guys.
Yeah, I have talked to everybody that I have some relationship with, and I told them all I'm going to the $1 billion arena. You can get off the train whenever you want to get off. If you hit a million and you great, get off the train. But I'm not stopping. And I'm not waiting either. So if you are dancing around thinking, great. Good for you. Nothing wrong with it. When you look up, I'm going to be gone. That is the model that we're pushing here. There's another thing I'm going to close out with this. And this is all about access and information and knowledge. Since I've been around Sean and Kyle, hearing information and learning, I started using the same terminology in other rooms that I was in. And guess what happened? I started getting invitations to other little groups that I ain't even know existed. I got a call tomorrow with a group that's all mergers and acquisition professionals and supposed to be all high-end business owners. Didn't even know it existed until I went around talking about, you know what, I want to get into mergers and acquisitions. Then there's something else I learned from Kyle and Sean. When I'm talking about selling stocks and doing all these types of things in the future, they talked about broker dealer. I started saying I need to find an independent broker dealer. Got invited to another group and the guy said, you want independent broker dealers? They're in this group. Reach out to this person to get the invitation. The access and the knowledge is out there. You just have to do the research, start using the right language so when you're talking about these things around the right people, they can open the door for you. But we like to talk the language of, I want to get funding. Funding talks about or relates to going to a bank and getting a loan.
Mm-hmm.
Raising capital is a whole different world, and they use entirely different language. So as we close out with that, we're going to let y'all go. We appreciate y'all. We will see you all next Thursday. I hope to see you all at this event. If you're not doing $1 million and if you're doing more, you should be there. You definitely better get there if you're not doing $1 million. If you're doing $1 million plus, it's some special stuff for you there. So both of you need to be in the building, one a little bit more than the other one. So have a great night. We'll see you all next week. Thank you again.
Take care,
Bye
guys.
bye.